Well, the obvious answer is that it doesn't match. I think the medical degree, the physician degree, is about learning a lot by heart, following the rules, fitting into a huge organism called the hospital, the healthcare system, which is all very strictly about order and functions and rules. So it doesn't fit in, and that was also what I realized. So when I had finalized my MD, I realized that the only way I could use my talents was to go into the pharmaceutical industry. I can give you one example from the hospital system. That was actually when I came up with many new ideas for how to improve or save something, and every time the various managers told me, "Jørgen, you are very naive. What do you think will happen to the money that we have saved?" Well, next year the money is gone from our budget. So great idea you come with, but we can't use it for anything. I think that was clearing my mind and saying, okay, apparently I have to work the system from outside and provide with ideas and new products. So I joined Pharmacia and worked internationally out of Stockholm, Portugal, for many years. Moved on to Aventis, and then I decided to start my own business. It became a Swedish company that is now on the stock exchange, and I carried on from there. I basically think I've started more than 30 organizations and companies. So my basic job is to start up new companies based on my own ideas or based on other people's ideas. I find it both actually just as fascinating. It carries the same elements. When you start up with your own idea, you risk being emotionally involved with it too much, and then you start making mistakes. It's of course fascinating and so on, but you tend to nurture it a little bit too subjectively, I would say. And when it's others, of course you can do it objectively, but then of course you have to focus on getting your heart on board, because it's not your idea. So both have some interesting aspects. So I've been around the whole area, being entrepreneur, business developer, product developer, sales and marketing through the years. The different with Exoventure is that it is a network of people plus 40 years, all having a long track record, a solid track record, position all over the world. So the concept is that whenever you come with an idea to Exoventure, we immediately send it out on a global scale to get it evaluated. The challenge is that in all other settings I've seen so far today is that ideas are being evaluated by people living in a region, like Danes, or even you, not being completely a Dane, but you are now living here, and very quickly you adapt the mentality of this region, whether you want it or not. And then you will also adapt the view of an idea. And that I find particularly problematic. You need to look at an idea on a global perspective, and one single individual, due to this reason, is not capable of doing it. So by linking up the skills all over the world, it becomes a very interesting and surprising, every time a totally unpredictable process. Because suddenly from Australia they come and say, "Wow, what a great idea," and then I heard from Germany that it was just the worst thing they've heard about it. So I think this is exactly the nature of new ideas. It is in the eyes of the beholder. It's a bunch of business developers. Some will come in with their own cash. Some will drag cash in from other VCs. Or some will just do the out-licensing, in-licensing work. So it is I would say, the full package of business development. I try to focus, or we try to focus on the life science area, so medtech, diagnostics, theranostics, biotech and pharmaceuticals. However, it's hard, it's difficult, I would say, to get around the clean tech area. It's difficult to avoid the IT areas. It's getting more and more interlinked, the technologies. So we are touching these areas as well, but our main focus is life science. It happens. I think what I find interesting is when people have both the energy and the professionalism. I meet many people that may have some good ideas, but if they do not have the professionalism, and you don't have to be professional in every area. For me, being a professional is like being, when you have a 18-year-old top athlete in tennis or in football, he or she is a professional in my mind, because he or she knows what he is great at. So you choose and you work in your area and you develop your skills, and you also know what you're not great at. This is where you see people that succeed and that fails, that you need to home in on your core competence. You have more success when you start up as 2 or 3. I find it very problematic when a guy comes alone and have a great idea. It seems that since you are alone, there is a reason. And that is that you haven't understood your job, actually, that you need to have somebody to help you. Find somebody that complements you. And that's also what I do myself. So it's not that I'm also taking my own medication. That the idea here is to find somebody that is not your lookalike. On the contrary, is somebody that is challenging you, is a pain in the neck. Typically, these 2 guys would normally never work together, but they have a fantastic idea and they understand the value of each other. These are the really strong teams I've seen being built up. I prefer these mini business plans, or at least teasers, to 1-page, 2-page, 3-page teasers. And I think this the same goes for all business angels, that we like to have a teaser, and we like to know, in the area that I operate, I must know, is there an IP behind it as intellectual property? Have you done your homework on this one? Because otherwise you are wasting our time. The MIT model is actually very interesting if you're capable of following that model, and that is that you actually have tested the idea on a potential customer, or even sold the idea to a potential customer. That is of course fantastic. Validation of your idea, of course, get a higher priority than ideas where we have to drag them from the very early stage onwards. The IP, the why is this unique? So what do you contribute? You could also call it your value proposition that people like to talk about. But it is a difficult word, and it contain a lot of meaning. So what is it really that you are providing that others do not today? I think this is a good answer. Is it feasible? I mean, have you looked at the cost involved, the market access? What will it actually take to get it to the market? It's a very early idea. It can either be a very straightforward deal, saying, fine, we go in, we help you set the whole thing up professionally, we help you to get in front of some venture capital or private investors, and then we just provide with some money against equity, and that's a very simple deal. Often it's not going like that. Often we actually become part of the IP simply because of our know-how. So my experience is that an idea is rarely done at that early stage. Most ideas benefit from having a new round of valuation. And one of the companies that I am working on starting up is exactly like that. That the inventor came with an idea that was great, but would never fly. and then I provided with the other part, and now it is a full integrated invention that can hopefully fly.